All right, let's talk about something really cool today. We're going to dive into a couple of incredible, honestly mind-bending stories that live in, well, the space between the words.
So, let me just throw this at you. What if a name was more real than the person? Or a map? What if the map was more real than the actual land it's supposed to represent?
That's a wild idea, right? But that's exactly what we're getting into. We're looking at two really strange but connected tales. Think of them like two sides of the same weird coin. One's about language, the other's about maps, and both explore what happens when our descriptions of the world start to become the world itself.
Okay, so our first story, it drops us into this, well, this very special, very strange school. It's a place where words have unimaginable power. And right away, we meet a mysterious kid named Petrichor who seems to have none.
So you gotta understand, this school, the Anomalies, is something else. See here, names aren't just labels. Naming something is an act of creation. It's called a grammatical event, and it literally distorts the field of meaning to make that thing real. The stronger the name, the more real the thing becomes. It's wild.
And believe me, they take this stuff seriously. I mean, look at this. The school has a building just for studying dangerous verbs. Verbs that can literally lock you in a tense. There's another one for studying the spaces between words. This isn't your high school grammar class. This is like learning the source code of the universe.
So into this world of ultimate linguistic power walks Petrichor, and he's a total anomaly. He's carrying this case, right? And inside are 7 items that they shouldn't exist. They break all the rules.
Okay, get this. The first thing is a mirror, but it doesn't reflect your face. It reflects the name of whatever it's facing. Not your given name, but its true name. The name it calls itself. I mean, just imagine looking into that. What would you see?
Then there's this compass, but it doesn't point north. No, it points toward the last word he will ever speak. Think about that for a second. It's pure, terrifying destiny, literally built into the grammar of his life.
And then, wow, the last one we'll mention is the original name of God. Not just a name, but the name God had before God even realized a name was needed. This isn't just an object, it's a piece of pre-creation. So you see, Petrichor seems to operate completely outside the known laws of reality.
Okay, so hold that thought. Now we're going to flip the coin over. We're moving from language to maps. This second story introduces us to a place, a city called Nonce. A city that by all accounts has no business existing, but it does. So what is Nonce? Well, think about every map ever made. Every time a cartographer smooths out a coastline or rounds off a distance, all those tiny little inaccuracies, those lost bits of reality, they don't just disappear, they add up, they accumulate. And Nonce is the city built from all that accumulated error. It's a place made of cartographic negative space.
And here's where it gets really scary. This city, it's a predator. The more you look at it, the more you try to map it, the more real it becomes, and the less real you become. It literally sustains itself by converting observers into observed data. It eats reality.
This is exactly what happened to the protagonist's uncle, Edmund. He was a cartographer, and he got obsessed with Nonce. He studied it so hard, so intensely, that, well, the city got him. He didn't just die, he became a part of it, a piece of statistical data, just replaying his life's patterns over and over on an impossible map.
So you see the connection, right? Both of these stories are really about the price of knowing, the cost of understanding the system. When you get too close to the source code of reality, whether that code is written in words or on maps, you run the very real risk of becoming part of the program.
And this is the absolute key difference between them. Both men kind of dissolve. They fade away. But how they do it is everything. Petrichor makes an active choice. He decides to stop being a noun, a fixed thing, and to become a verb, an action, a process within language itself. Uncle Edmund, though, his fate is passive. He's just consumed. He becomes data because he stared too long into the abyss. It's choice versus consequence.
So the big truth these two stories are pointing at is this. The tools we use to describe reality, names, maps, whatever, they're not neutral. They're not just passive little instruments. They have their own weight, their own gravity. They actively pull on the world and on us.
So where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway? It's that the stories we tell about the world, they don't just describe the world, they instruct it. The way we map things out, the words we use, we're essentially telling the world what to be.
You can actually break this whole idea down into 4 steps. It's like a parable.
1. We create systems to make sense of reality. Language, maps, you name it. 2. These systems are always imperfect. They have gaps, silences, blank spots. 3. And this is the mind-blower, those gaps are not empty. They're powerful. They're where new, strange realities can actually start to form. And 4. If you get smart enough to actually understand how this all works, you risk getting absorbed by the system itself.
So at the end of the day, what these stories are really teaching us is that every mat has blank spaces. Every language has things it can't say, moments of silence.
And those spaces, they're not empty. They are fertile. Which kind of leaves us with one last big question, doesn't it? If our words and our maps really do create the world, then what unintended worlds are we creating right now? You know, in the gaps of our own systems, our algorithms, our social media feeds, our spreadsheets. What's growing in the space between our words?